so I can...
Yep.
Cool.
And we're going to share. Your stream will stop immediately. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I clicked the wrong mother effer. All right, there's the link. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to jump up here. I'm going to email it to EJ Fettis. There's only one of you.
Damn straight.
Dog. Link to Podbean episode something TV.
I'll know what it is.
You know what it is? There it is. Okay, you got the link.
Just waiting for that email to come through to EJ.
Message sent. And
come on, email.
Seeing over here.
There we go.
All right, so for our Something TV viewers, which usually is 0. That's my... Once in a while, somebody will tune in. Right now, we have 0 concurrent viewers, which is fine. Sometimes, if you are tuning in late and you want to ask EJ a question or me a question about Frisky Dingo, please, this is the pre-show, people. We haven't clapped yet. Where's the camera? I don't even know where my own
There it
camera
is.
There's one there.
Oh my God. I did not know there were 2 cameras.
That's just for us to be...
I see 2 different views of myself, and it's terrifying. Also, this one view, I cannot imagine a human being having a more square beard than I have.
Oh, well, it's gonna be a good show, people. You may not realize it. I'm just pulling up my Frisky Dingo questions.
Oh, you got questions.
Well,
you did research.
I did observations because while I was watching, things that jumped out at me, and some of it's just jokes I liked, like "Get this place decorpsed." I've never heard the word decorpsed. And then my favorite joke of all, Killface says, "I blame the hip hop." He blames. I'm over here now. He blames the hip hop people. All right. I think we're recording and we're good. We have no viewers. What else? Is there something else we're forgetting? You're gonna start the official start once we clap.
Yes.
Oh, marijuana. I forgot the weed. And Bigfoot's here. People.
Stand him up so he's on camera.
He is a little short, but he could be right there, couldn't he? Right next. He likes to wave. He's a big waver.
He's right there by the microphone.
Or she. I guess we should say she because the famous one had boobs. But the person in the suit is a man. So, I don't know. He, she, they, them. All of them. All right.
So if you're watching the stream...
Oh, and don't forget we should tell your story of that you're afraid if you get high you'll shit the bed. I feel like that.
I feel like that's a thing you need to bring out because
I will.
My internal censor will prevent it.
I will try to remember, but we also, wherever the flow takes us, right? Oh, you know what? I'm going to turn off the furnace real quick. Do you get too cold easily?
Yeah, I'm fine.
It just makes a background noise that we don't need.
Oh yeah, if I get cold, I brought a long sleeve shirt and a fleece that I can pull on over my Awesome Tees by Summer t-shirt. Hi, I'm streaming on the internet right now. Sean's doing some stuff, so I'm in charge. Hi. There are 2 cameras getting images of me. I see them both simultaneously. I think this is what insanity feels like.
This is insanity.
I'm rapidly what do you call it? I'm dissociating. I'm also we'll get into this once the show proper starts. I'm drunk.
Proper show.
There's also just enough of a delay on the video that when I look at it, I am horrified by the lip sync. But clearly that's not the case. There's a slight delay, so the fact that it doesn't match is to be expected.
C'est la vie. Okay. We've got Bigfoot, we've got weed, we've got blue blockers. I got 2 kinds of reading glasses, iced coffee. My eyes are so bad that I have to switch up the reading glasses.
Jeez.
Depending on, like, these are for looking at, but part of it's this screen is so huge that I don't know where to sit. Like, should I get up close? But
my eyes are just bad all the time.
Just bad all the time.
Like, I started going back to the gym occasionally, which I haven't done since before COVID.
Yeah.
And if I am on a treadmill or an elliptical, and somebody there's like a lady in the row ahead of me,
Right.
and I'm so afraid she'll think I'm looking at her butt,
Well.
that I take my glasses off.
So
But she doesn't know how bad my vision is without my glasses. So that's not helping. That's not helping me not look like a creep. I can't see the readout or anything.
That's very, it's a very modern gentleman move, though. That's very nice of you to be like, I don't want you to feel like I'm looking at your butt.
If she could experience 1 second inside my head, she would know, oh, he's taking great pains to not see my butt because he can't see anything.
Right, right.
But she might think this is for all I know, she thinks it's an affectation. Every woman I've stood behind on a treadmill has been boiled down to one single woman now.
Right, right.
The universal she.
The universal she. All right, well, there we go. I'll scoot to my left a little. I wanted you to have the nice background with the big head there. There's heads everywhere.
that mask that I cannot figure out how to make me point to it on either one of the monitors.
I have this one here.
Yes, it looks sort of like the Court of the Owls, which is a thing in Batman now.
Oh, nice.
They're the secret cabal that rules Gotham City, and it's got a little bit like their masks are plainer, but the silhouette of it is very Court of the Owls.
Yeah, and that one I believe is that's a legit handmade mask from Africa. I think it might have magical powers. We don't know.
Well, we'll see it in the screen if it manifests something.
And we're on. That's our screen that's live, and this is the preview screen.
Okay, so this is the camera that's live.
Yeah.
So that's the one to look at if I want to make a point,
Right.
or if I want to show people my great Teased by Summer mug.
There you go.
And it's now moving. Oh
And
my
now it's
God, I'm
moved.
losing
Now
my
it moved.
mind.
And then go over here so we'll practice. Now go up high. There you go. But if you
Yes.
really want to make a quick cut, we'll do that, and then you're back. We'll use this as your close-up.
All right.
Close-up.
For the
camera.
most part, it won't matter since I'm mostly thinking of audio, and it's only when that is the thing I'll do towards the end is do my ad for Teased by Summer, where I will show off my T-shirt and my mug.
Very good. Very good.
And I assume you'll also be enthusiastic because you're supportive.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you're not, I'll still sell you on it, and by the end, you will be supportive.
I will be.
I'm one hell of a pitchman.
You are a good pitchman.
I'm
And you know, in this game, this podcast game, you got to be a pitchman.
That's right.
That's how you pay the bills.
That's
people.
how my success as a podcaster, a venture that so far has cost me money.
I know, me too. Something TV has been. Every film I've ever made has cost me money. Once I won $300. That's all the money I've ever made in my whole life on film. For film-related ephemera.
For 13 years of Spunky Bean, which has since been shut down and become the Ape Hive, which is much cheaper but still not profitable.
It's still not profitable, but
I made $300 writing about James Bond
Oh.
and lost a significant amount of money.
Well, just this equipment. Just to do the little, we do live music, live film stuff, but then it's drifted into politics. All of it costs money. None of it makes money. We did sell some T-shirts this year.
All right.
And Aunt Mary, my actual Aunt Mary, gave us crocheted handbags.
Aw,
And I sold 10 of those.
Aunt Mary's the best.
Yeah, and Aunt Mary, we give all her money, proceeds go to Children's Food Basket. So if you want to help Children's Food Basket, come to my house and buy a bag. That's, which is I probably most of your listeners don't want to do that.
I was going
to.
Well,
okay.
My local listeners are pretty much limited to Becky, Rachel, and the Shields, so it's still a worthwhile plug getting out there.
That's true, and Becky's excluded since it's her mother.
That's she could get a crocheted bag if she wanted
the
one.
The Shields have not purchased an Aunt Mary. She calls them potato bags. But they, any vegetables really.
They listen. They'll
do they listen? Okay,
yeah.
Good.
Sometimes,
and they're in Malta, right?
That's
At this moment we are speaking, they're 6 hours ahead. So it's whatever it is.
It's
in Malta.
2 in the morning.
2 a.m.
Hopefully they're up and they're living it up.
Yeah, I think Becky Shields been asleep for like 6 hours.
One time I made a reference to Brad being a guest on the podcast because I wanted. I think our vibe is interesting, and he doesn't listen live because it's a podcast, but
sure.
When he was listening to it, I just got a text that said the word no, and I knew what it meant.
You knew. That's not an uncommon reaction for Mr. Shield.
No, that's kind of his starting point. All right, are you ready for the podcast
ready.
proper?
Are we ready to go live? I feel like I want to share the link somewhere else before we start, because you know who actually might pay attention. Let's share it one more time.
Yeah, if you want to share it from your socials too, that's...
I was going to say, if you don't mind, let's put it on... Let's put it on the old Facebook arena. Just on my personal page, because I think people might find it funny.
Yeah. Are we even... I don't know. Do you ever post on Facebook as yourself?
Not much, because I try to spare... I don't want my friends to be too caught up into my political stuff.
Because it appears to be... We might not be friends on Facebook, despite me... Oh, we are. Okay. I think that would have been weird.
I'll find out here, because I'm going to put your name in and see if it says...
You have to put an @ in front of it, don't you?
I think on Facebook it just knows, but let's see.
I have a weird name. It doesn't always...
At EJ, yeah, maybe
I don't have a first name, so it...
EJ... There it is. Woo! 33 mutual friends, bro.
Whoa! This is shocking to me.
It's funny, and you should watch. I'm doing... Let me be a better writer. I'm recording. Is there a tag for Facebook at FedTalks?
No, I don't have a Facebook page. I don't have a Twitter either. I just changed my screen name on Twitter to be EJ Fed Talks.
Oh, that's nice. I'm recording.
It's Fed Talks, not Fed Talk.
Fed Talk. Thank you. See, that's why I need all the glasses. Fed Talks with EJ. It's funny, and you should watch. Right freaking now. And there's the link, and off we go. Yada yada. Posting. All right. You ready? No.
I just got a notification that you tagged me in a post. I'm going to put my phone on mute, but if anything interesting comes through,
I should mute my phone too, just in case.
And I will let you clap, because it's probably going to cause a waveform thing if we both clap.
All right, here we go. EJ Fedis, Fed Talks, with Something Television presents Fed Talks, Frisky Dingo, one and only take.
Hi, welcome to Fed Talks. I'm your host, EJ. This is, if you've been following the show, you know every other week we do a good episode where I talk to a guest about a short-lived TV show that they love. And also, we're streaming this on YouTube. If you're listening to this as a podcast, check the show notes, and there's video of it. Because if there's there's actual video. If there's one thing two middle-aged men talking about an Adult Swim cartoon from 16 years ago need, it's a visual component.
That's right.
My guest, who is lighting up as we speak,
I promised,
is a dear friend of mine. He is a filmmaker. He is a local eccentric. He's an activist. We're going to get into all the stuff he does.
Bigfoot enthusiast.
Yes, if Bigfoot enthusiast, if you are watching the stream or the video, you've just seen him just absolutely light up. God bless him. I'm drunk right now. This is how it's happening. Let me introduce Sean Kenny.
Woo! I don't know if I'm supposed to cheer for myself.
You know what? It sounds better.
There's no audience here, so I felt like I had to play the role.
The way my voice went up at the end, it sort of implied there would be a thing, and it would have been like just an absolute wet fart if there had been no sound.
When I was an extra, we would smoke on set, but it was like a cloves kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
This ain't Hollywood, baby. This is Michigan, and it's all legal. I keep looking at the mic like it's a camera.
Yeah,
is the audience in there?
For those of you who are either watching or listening, we have a mic, and there's also 2 cameras. So if you're watching the video, I have no idea where to look at any given time.
Right.
Because there are also monitors that show both views, and I cannot look in the direction of both. And so as a result, most of the time I'm looking at neither.
Oh, dear. And I'm going to show them your show, if that's all right. You keep talking.
Absolutely.
If this is, you
Bring
can
it
go
on.
see it on Fed Talks. Let me get the text off screen off of your page to make it more beautiful. So there you go. Fed Talks.
.podbean.com. So if you're watching this on the Something TV YouTube page, you can check out my podcast. And if you're listening to my podcast, you can check out the Something TV YouTube page, which I will link to in the show. These show notes are going to be excessive. And
look at that. Now I got the text right over our faces.
Oh, damn.
Which is
okay.
less good.
It's somehow... Okay, and now we've got a image of Woody from Toy Story.
That's from a different show. Don't try not to look at everything that I put on the screen. It may not be related.
It is very distracting when memes of Woody having opinions about smoking weed are
I know. Isn't that something?
on the screen.
Do you ever think we would end up with memes of Woody talking about weed?
Now, I'm going to tell you what show it is first, and then I want to talk to Sean about non-show related things, because he's a guy I've been friends with for 20 plus years. And if you listen to the show, previous guest Sam Kenny, who talked about John from Cincinnati, has the same name as Sean.
Sam Kenny. Same exact initials, too. SJK.
Indeed, SJK.
And it's confusing when you live together and you write your initials on your good snacks so that...
You know Sam's eating those good snacks.
Other people won't eat them, and they're like, SJK.
So he is a cousin of much beloved former guest Sam Kenny.
Yeah.
But first up, we're going to talk about the Adult Swim show Frisky Dingo.
Frisky Dingo, people.
Animated series ran from 2006 to 2008, 25 episodes. But before we dig into the meat of a weird show, Sean is playing with toys now.
Do you make the noise when your toys fly? The air noise?
Oh, absolutely.
Sorry, you continue. I threw you off your game.
I recommend the video because Sean is doing bits.
I just realized that you have to do the work, and I can goof off.
This is my second guest recording in a row where the guest got up and walked away early in the recording. Things are falling apart early. One thing before we get into the show, as I said, I've been friends with Sean for 20 plus years. And Sean's a filmmaker, and I've been involved with some of his projects.
We'll call him
He is the reason I have an IMDb page. And that was for his film, which saw some festival releases and played locally at the Wealthy Theater, Burning Folk. Is that available where people can see it now?
I believe a version of it is.
Oh, okay.
I'm working on a second version, actually, 10 years later kind of version. But I believe it's on my Vimeo account.
Okay.
And as you're talking, you know what? I'll pull it up on the Wayback Machine, and we'll see if it's actually available. It should be free and viewable. We never did get to Netflix.
That's a shame.
To make money on it. We did win an award in Australia. I don't know if you remember that.
It's kind of you to say we, but
we did. Well, hey, it was a
I have
group
at least
effort.
I have at least one Twitter friend from Australia.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
We were in it was called the Improvised Film Festival. So your film could not have been scripted.
It certainly wasn't scripted.
And it would have been great to go, but, it would have cost us thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And so we did, and we got into quite a few festivals. It was a little long for a lot of festivals, but, it was a road movie. And that's what road movies, it's about meandering.
Absolutely. Now, my role, because this was a literal road movie where you and your cousins disappeared for several weeks,
right.
In a motorhome. Mm-hmm. I am in the movie in 2 scenes, and one of them is largely not. It's cinema verite in the sense of it's me actually explaining to Sam why I can't be in the movie.
Right. Right.
And that's in the movie.
It's sort of the launch scene, actually, because, when in screenwriter school, they always yell at this is how I imagine it. I've never been. But they yell at the screenwriters, if you're going to have a road movie, get on the road. But somebody has to launch you. And so EJ launched us by telling us, you were yourself, right? We used your real name.
This was literally me explaining why I couldn't leave work for 2 months to be in your movie.
And why you didn't want to... you had other complaints. I'm trying to... now that you've said it, you're jogging my memory.
I will get to the specific complaints.
A toilet complaint, I believe.
There was a toilet complaint. Also, there was an issue with where we would sleep.
Oh, yeah.
This is the thing I specifically wanted to bring up is Sean is a naked sleeper. I have shared hotel rooms with him before.
It's true. Am I in that camera? Yes.
Sam was the one who came to me and asked me to do it. And I said, and he said, well, I'll share a bunk with Sean. And I said something along the lines of, I can't make you share a bed with your naked boy cousin. And Sean posted that clip on YouTube with the title Naked Boy Cousin.
Right away.
And I think we're all in jail.
Right away. This was, though, back in the good old 2010, I believe. And YouTube, it was a more innocent time, don't you think?
I think we just knew less about it.
We didn't realize how bad social media was going to be, that it was going to be a festering sewer of lies, disinformation, and apparently not unwanted pornography. What's the right word? Pornography that really shouldn't be out there.
Yes.
But it's out there because of social media.
And
thanks, Mark Zuckerberg.
The second scene comes at the end where I have been asked to do a scene not knowing the plot of everything you filmed in between.
Yeah.
And I'm driving, which is a good thing to do as an actor.
Yeah, and a lot had happened that you didn't know about.
I was picking somebody up after an alien abduction.
Yes.
This is the thing I didn't know.
And as the dude would say, there were a lot of strands in this film.
And the main thing I remember, besides us shooting it about 13 times, is we were in a cornfield, but it was supposed to be in Arizona. Right, and I was tasked with making sense of that. And the way I did it was by saying, I didn't think they grew corn in Arizona. Bingo. Right. Continuity problem solved.
Solved. I do remember that was... EJ is pretty quick on his feet. If you've never met him, he comes up with some stuff pretty fast. And that actually, I thought, like, as a director, I was sort of happy. Like, oh, yeah, I guess we can just... EJ can just tell a lie, and it fixes the problem. But I wanted to go back to the naked boy cousin. Very important topic. Not to belabor it, but human memory is an interesting thing, because I remember one of your lines being, am I supposed to take comfort in the fact that you're sleeping with your naked boy cousin? Even though I don't have to, like something like, it's nice that you don't have to sleep with me, but Sam does, and that you find that almost as disturbing. And people, let me just say this. Let me put on my sunglasses. You gotta sleep naked, people. Why would you sleep? Because you know what it is? It's the clothes. You wake up and you're being choked by your own pajamas, right? It's practical.
This isn't as universal as an experience as you think it is.
I feel like pajamas are made to strangle you in your sleep.
Most
Something
people
like that.
sleep in pajamas without incident.
Well, maybe I got the wrong pajamas. It's probably because I was getting hand-me-down pajamas my whole life.
Still now.
You hear that, Mom? Mom's in heaven, but still, I think she can hear me.
In your 50s, you're still getting pajamas from your older brother after they've worn out.
Actually, you know what, though? I think they were... Remember the pajamas that forced the garment industry to start putting in flame retardant? Because I think we used to wear those pajamas that if you got a spark on you, you'd just go up in flames.
Your contention is that you have pajamas made by the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory.
That's right.
Which I think was in the 30s. Okay.
Very dangerous. I mean, fire is still a problem, but back then, you get caught in the wrong PJs.
I guess one other, and we might get into other Sean projects later, but one that he was shooting a music video, and we all had, a bunch of his friends and I all had to wear identical clothes and look tough.
Oh, yeah. You were sort of the Men in Black, kind of.
And I was supposed to be like the main one, which meant I had to hang around a warehouse for 5 hours.
Right.
And then after he had dismissed everybody else, he shot about 45 seconds of footage of me. And then the rest of the footage was in a different location with a dude who had no problem getting naked at Sean's request. And I am just...
We won't name that location since he was naked because I still have a fiduciary relationship with them.
We will not name the dude or the location, but he was naked on what can only be described as an altar. And I have to stand next to him. And look, you want to be naked? Cool. We've just already established this. I don't necessarily want to have to stand there in character next to a dude who's like, hell yeah, let's get naked. Pants are off, dick is out, go.
But I will say, for people, if you're seeing this, EJ is tall, he's got a bigger frame, and we put him in a dark suit as a director for a creepy Men in Black bad guy, because you roughed him up a little, right?
I did. I roughed him up. I bounced him off a wall.
So it's like, and the guy he was roughing up was sort of a bald doppelganger of me a little bit. And so visually, it was a great role for EJ.
I'm the kind of guy I'm the kind of big that might be strong, but once you get to know me, you realize that I'm not.
Fortunately, the audience didn't know that.
That's right.
Because I remember thinking, wow, EJ came across... when I was editing, I was like, boy, he looks meaner. I mean, I know that's EJ, but also I think your acting was good. And you inhabited, do you remember what we were even calling these characters?
I don't remember.
They were trying to kill Jerry's character.
Yes, who we said we wouldn't name, but I guess we won't say his last name.
We won't say his last name.
It's the mouse from the cartoons.
That's right. But yeah, I should know, but it's been too long. And they were basically an evil force. They represented stifling of the life force. You were the leader of that.
I guess the other important fact of that is you made a flamethrower for
I made
people
a
to
homemade.
Wield.
And that, I have to say, when you're doing your own movie, you got to do your own props.
Absolutely, but...
And it worked.
People almost died.
People almost died. I didn't even think it would work.
Because it worked sporadically, and at one point,
it did.
One of the people, it didn't work. He looked into the barrel of it, which feels very...
Don't look into the barrel of your homemade flamethrower. And I won't tell you how to make it, because it will get somebody hurt. But you know what I think the trick was to that? Quality parts. I bought real galvanized steel.
It was durable.
And it was not cheap, but I also thought if I'm going to shoot flames, I need good thick pipe. And then I read some stuff online, and a friend of mine told me how flammable hairspray is, I guess. And then we were off to the flamethrower races.
It was a good prop, and it was so small, and it made quite a gout of flame.
Yeah, and it kind of made a noise, didn't it?
Yeah.
I remember a kind of sound.
It was sort of terrifying.
Yeah, and you were taking his soul with that gun.
Yes, but most of the 5 hours was other people in the same outfit as me were chasing him.
Yeah.
And then I show up at the end, but I still had to show up at the same time
as
all of the people who appeared much earlier in the film.
Yeah, most of making films is hurry up and wait.
We also...
And we could have had, if we had what's I guess would be called a production coordinator, then they could have told you to just stay home until they called you. But we couldn't afford that.
We also entered a commercial for Firefox.
Oh, yeah.
Where we spent all day shooting an ad that I think the rough cut of it was 6.5 minutes long for a 30-second spot.
It was. And
My
we had like
character had
4
an
versions of them. I wanted all 4 versions in one ad. And I think it was Sam Kenny who said, why don't you make them each one version? And I was like, that's genius. Because we had an obelisk floating around.
I was crippled in one version. I'm in a wheelchair by the end of the ad.
Yes, there was one where we were crumpling up paper.
We had a stunt with a spill.
Oh, that's right. We shot stunts.
It was, oh man, it was all day.
It was a lot of work. Here's the good news. That ad is still out there somewhere because I got my day job. Should I tell him my day job?
Yeah, tell them as much as you want. I'm not going to blow up your spot.
My day job, I'm a psychologist, and it's a great day job, and people don't know that I make wacky films. And every once in a while, a client will come in and say, I was goofing around on the internet, and I saw you in a Firefox ad. And I was like, what? But funnier story than that, and I don't know if I ever told you this story, EJ. This might be a new story for you on your own show.
This is unprecedented.
I think I told you because it was about, I don't know if they'll be able to see it, but I have a line in my skull right here.
He's a bald man who bumps into things.
And I think Mother Nature did that to me when my skull plates are coming together. They got a little off. And when I was working as an extra, I had a woman who would get me gigs. She was like an agent for an extra, but she charged way less than a real agent. And because I didn't make any money. She got like $50 a month or something. Donuts. But she said there's a director shooting an ad for Kodak film, a new kind of Kodak film or a high-speed camera, and they want you because they think they can make your head look creepy. And I was flattered, or whatever the word, a word next to flattered is. And so, but here's the weird part, and I don't think this is racist. I don't think this is racist.
Oh, God. My
Have you ventured broken. Into?
Don't make me edit this out.
Well, the director said to me, the commercial will run in Japan.
Oh, okay.
And Japanese audiences like to be scared. And they said, your face and your bald white head will scare them. And I said, okay, sign me up. And it was it took like 15 minutes, and they paid me a lot of money for my cracked head. I never got to see it, but they had a makeup artist do the crack on my head. She highlighted it. It took like half an hour, maybe an hour. She highlighted my crack, and then they brought me into this dark auditorium. I couldn't see anything, and I'm just remembering this. It's like a recovered trauma. And they shined bright lights in my face. It was like real bright light because it was super slow-mo and you need a shit ton of light. And they flashed strobe lights at me, and I had to put my face in the lens. Was like almost touching my face. That might be an exaggeration, but I was right up in there. And then they made me do that thing. Have you done this when you were a kid? Make your face turn red? Where you put kind of yeah, like it's a pressure thing. They're like, can you do that? And I was like, sure. And I did that, and they're like, yeah, and the flashers are going off. So I apparently have been seen by Japanese people this is from 22 years ago, year 2000, with making red face close up in a super slow-mo camera. I would love to see it. Wouldn't you love to see that?
There's nothing I want more at this point in my life. Famously terrifying to Japanese people. My guest is Sean Kenny. Yeah. You may not know this, but in the original version of The Ring, he's what appears on the videotape.
And I don't remember at the time, I don't really remember the race or gender of the person that told me this, but they said, you will be good because you'll scare the audience in a way they like being scared. And I said, I don't know what that means, but I am signing up. And I did. And I hope if you're in Japan, if you're listening in Japan, could you find out around year 2000 high-speed film commercial? Or no, high-speed camera, I think it was.
Also, if you're in Japan, please watch the video and tell us if you're terrified of Sean. We've been led to believe that culturally you are.
And it was funny because I think they were worried about hurting my feelings, saying that I would terrify the Japanese. But they said it's in a good way. It's in the entertaining way that they want to be terrified. And I was like, all right.
There's an entire nation that's afraid of you, but in a fun way.
In a fun way. Don't take it badly. And I was like, I don't care. I think it's kind of cool. I didn't know.
You know how Japanese people hate lines in somebody's head?
They do. Yeah.
They're terrified of Linus from Peanuts. He's all lines on his head.
Right.
We could actually do a full episode that's just Sean Kenny Hollywood stories.
Yeah.
He was an extra for a while, and we will at some point.
It was the most fun I ever had, but also the most boring at the same. Like the fun moments were really fun. I got to meet what'd they call him? He was the leader of the '80s rap band that I'm blanking out on because I smoked weed before we started. And he called himself the Reverend.
From Run DMC?
Run DMC, yes. I got to hang out with the Reverend.
Holy!
He won't remember me, but I will remember him forever. And he was the coolest dude.
I have known you for 22 years, and this has never
come up. You didn't know.
Up.
See, there's too many stories that I forget. And it was very short-lived. It was one afternoon. He was a guest on the sitcom with the UPS driver.
King of Queens.
King of Queens. He was guest on, or was it the other one, Grounded for Life with Donegal Logan? What's that guy's name?
Donald Logue.
Thank you.
That seems more likely. I have
think
a hard
was
time
him.
imagining somebody from the world of rap would be on a Kevin James show.
Yeah. No, it was the other one.
I do, and if you hit me up on Twitter, I'll try to find you a link or video of Sean's Gilmore Girls episodes where you have never seen an extra try harder to stay in frame than this man who suddenly just starts walking backwards in the background.
Well, you know, the unwritten rule was if they saw you trying to get on camera, that would piss them off. And I did see one guy get kicked out of a shoot. But if you're slick, I was at a book table. And I thought maybe in real life I'd back up thinking I missed some of the books.
I might have passed a book that I liked.
I might have passed a book that I liked.
All right, this will be a whole side episode at some point, but what we got to do is talk about Frisky Dingo.
Frisky Dingo, people. We are wasting a lot of time not talking about Frisky Dingo.
That's true of most things in life. Frisky Dingo was an Adult Swim show. 2 seasons, started in 2006. It ended in 2008. It was created by Adam Reed, who went on to create Archer. We'll get into a little of that later. It was ostensibly, it was about superhero Awesome X and his archenemy Killface. Except Xander Cruz almost never wears his superhero costume for the entire series, and Killface doesn't know he's his enemy.
Right.
And Killface is a single dad who is also an alien who's been tasked with destroying the Earth but does not have the budget to let people know. It is an absolutely wild show. Watching it again was so much fun.
It was. I was glad. I watched it like it was homework. But then I was like, oh my God, I forgot all this stuff. Yeah.
So my first question to you, before we start with our general enthusiasm, do you remember your history with Frisky Dingo? Because our history is intertwined, and I do remember it.
I don't remember where. I feel like it would have been my brother Tim telling me to watch it.
That checks out.
Or I stumbled upon it. But honestly, it's been too long. What do you remember?
You were the person who introduced me to Frisky Dingo. This was back when you and Sam were up all night watching everything on Adult Swim.
Right.
And you had recorded a bunch of them and said, oh, you have to watch this.
Right.
And as is your want, I don't even think it was the first episode for a show with completely loopy continuity. It was a random episode in the middle.
Yeah.
And I laughed my ass off. And then that was in between. Season 2 is 12 episodes. There's a long break in between.
Somebody's watching us.
Hey.
Hi, one viewer.
How you doing? Get at me. There was a long break between episodes 8 and 9 of season 2, and that's when you introduced me to the show.
Oh.
Because the last 4 episodes were the only ones I watched live.
Okay. I don't remember that at all.
And I remember us talking about it a lot, and then because there are a million things on TV, it doesn't you don't necessarily keep refreshed.
Yeah.
But yeah, you introduced me to a lot of things on Adult Swim, some of which didn't stick.
Yeah, because there's a lot of stuff on Adult Swim.
Yes,
like 12-Ounce Mouse. You haven't watched that.
I've seen about 6 minutes of 12-Ounce Mouse,
and that might be one I found that to be an awesome show, but I could see why most people would think I don't want to watch this. But Frisky Dingo, did I know it was going to end? Did you know it was going to end?
Nobody knew it was going to end in the community. In fact, season 2 ends on...
in the dingo community?
Yeah, in the dingo community. Because this was about the point when the company I was working for started to collapse. And I had a lot of time during the day to read message boards. And I got really into the Frisky Dingo fan community. And people didn't know that was going to be the end. And it ends on a cliffhanger / setup for what probably would have been an awesome season.
Yeah.
Which we're not going to spoil necessarily unless we do accidentally.
Right. That was a beautiful cliffhanger, and I realized we can come back to this later too. I can't remember now. Was that Killface's mother or his wife?
It's his mother.
It's his mother. I thought maybe, but then I thought, angry wife came back to kick his ass.
Yeah, I think there's and maybe that was something I got from an interview. I can't remember if he specifically refers to her or. I don't remember. He
does say mother, doesn't he?
Yeah, but...
He goes, mother.
He's got the kind of voice from somebody who might call his wife mother.
That's what I thought, too. I think that's why, and I was probably high. I'm going to admit, when I watch Adult Swim, I tend to I do mood enhancement sometimes. But he said mother, and I was like, yeah, but sometimes British.
Yeah. He's an alien with a British accent.
He's a British alien.
He's a completely white alien with... like animal legs.
Yeah.
And he's weirdly buff.
He's real buff. He doesn't even have a 6-pack. He's got like an 8 or a 10-pack.
He's got so many packs.
He's got a lot of packs.
So we both rewatched it for this. Tell me your first... We're just going to be generally enthusiastic. What did you think watching it this time in 2022?
2022.
After however many years of just having it living in your memory.
Right. It had degraded in my memory, and it'll sound like I'm gushing, but I was so pleased. There was so much more going on than I could remember. I was like, oh yeah. Like there were so many like little weird layers, like the whole thing about Xander Cruz hitting Killface with his car, and at the time Killface is blind because he had was it spider poison or ant?
Yeah, it was formic acid from an ant villain.
Because his ex-girlfriend was turning into
antagony of an ant-themed supervillain.
The names are great, but Xander hits him with his car, and then he goes and helps him, and they develop a legitimate friendship.
They spend the second half of the season, and for part of it, both of them are blind.
Oh, right.
I forgot he was blind too. First, they're making bootleg merchandise, and then making their way through the sewers.
Mm-hmm.
And it is... the plotting is absolutely... Here's the thing, is it's real thick on continuity, but the plotting is so wild that it's not super necessary because...
Right.
Like, you maybe know why that lady has ant powers, but even knowing why doesn't really make it more clear.
Yeah, no, it kind of doesn't matter, and they expect you to... That's what I would say, watching it again, I almost at first was like, oh, I kind of remember it, I don't need to watch it again. But then I watched it again, I was like, way richer than I recalled. And I feel like, why does my memory suck so bad?
It is so full of jokes, too.
Right.
Right. Just, that was something on the most recent... and there's... Look, I'm not going to bother telling you every time Sean lights up because that sounds judgmental. I'm drunk. So, I got no place to judge.
He's drunk. I'm high. I feel like we're doing an intro to a very late night local
I'm
commercial.
high. Together we're cops. But there's... the jokes come so fast. And it's... Here's a thing that I was surprised by watching it again. I had forgotten a lot of it, but I remembered it as being more like almost catchphrasey, like there were things that came up a lot. But there are things that come up once or twice, and then you just remember them.
Right.
Like, one thing that I have carried for years is when people would refer to when somebody saw a hot woman and went, slideshow.
Oh, wow.
Which presumably refers to them being in the mental bank of people you would masturbate to.
I was going to ask you, because, you may or may not notice there's an age difference between EJ and I. And
less significant with every passing year.
Yes, right. Once you're over 45-ish, it's there's a flat area. We're all in the valley together.
Can I just say that I'm going to put this on a podcast and regret it? When I first started being friends with Sean, he was the exact age my dad was the last time I saw him.
I forgot about that.
So there was a thing like, I'm picking up where I left off with Dad, even though I've
You traded your old dad in for a new weird dad.
Now you're so much older than my dad was when I knew him.
Oh, that's strange.
Like you've just lapped him.
Yeah.
Which sounds like that sounds meaner than I meant it to be, but I never saw my dad after he was like 45.
I was just going to say,
I'm older than he was,
right,
in my memory.
Right. Oh, that's true. And when you're a kid, like I remember thinking somebody 35 was like, that's really old.
Yeah.
It seemed old. Now it seems like chump change.
I remember being in my 20s and somebody 3 years older than me is like, I can't date that person. My God. We're from totally different generations.
This doesn't fit in here at all, but I have a no segue rule when I talk. You don't need a segue. But I wanted everyone who's listening to know, or you think they can guess what this is? It's a toy, children's toy. You look at pictures, and it's 3D, and it's awesome. I won't tell you the answer. You have to guess. But if you're watching, I got this toy out for you, EJ, because I was thinking, I have a lot of weird toys that I don't think EJ would enjoy that much, but I thought this one might be.
This brings back some memories, and I don't know if I could use it with glasses.
No, it's a little bit harder with glasses, and I think you might want to pick through the other. I got like 20 discs.
There's like a million reels.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right, segue over.
Well, we were talking about slideshow specific. But
that's right. I didn't even think about that.
I remember that as being like a recurring thing, and they make that joke twice in the same episode and never again.
Yes.
And there's so many things that they hit a couple of times, and they're just such good jokes that they stick.
Mm-hmm. That was one of my comments in season 1. It was all about somebody's going out for pickles.
Yes.
And it seemed like they were implying some kind of double entendre or sexual whatever. But after a while, it was just there had to be some pickle reference, I think, in every single episode. I'm going to watch it again just for the pickles. Season 2, I didn't see a game like that. Did you pick up any of that in season 2?
The pickles kind of carried over to season 2, but
yeah, they just didn't do it as much, I don't think.
Yeah, there is. I guess plot. We probably need to mention the plot a little bit. Is
sure.
Killface plans to destroy the Earth. But he needs a media buy so people know that he's going to destroy the Earth with the Annihilatrix, a giant engine that will push Earth into the sun.
Yeah.
So he tries direct mail.
It'll launch with such force that the Earth will become a rocket ship that flies into the sun. But now I'm trying to think the media buy. Why did he need a media buy?
He wanted people to know it was going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
So he sent out postcards to...
The fear factor.
Yeah, he sent out postcards to every home in America that had a typo on them. It said, "Welcome to You Are Doom." And it had doom in quotation marks because it was an ironic doom, apparently.
Right. That's right, they goofed on
Then he tried going on a Regis and Kathy Lee type show, and they just plugged their sponsor. And I can't imagine somebody who would plug their sponsor on a live show like that.
Who would do such a thing?
This mug and t-shirt brought to you by teesbysummer.com. We'll get to that later.
Teesbysummer.com, people.
But there's without spoiling the end of the first season, there is
We should pull her up, though, shouldn't we? She got a website or something?
Yeah, teesbysummer.com. The thing I said.
The thing I said, too!
Yes.
And it was just words. It's just sounds coming out of my mouth.
The second season is about arch enemies Killface and Xander Cruz becoming presidential candidates.
Right.
And the first 2/3 of the season is about their presidential campaigns. Which is, frankly, and it's presented sort of documentary style, except when they don't want it to be.
Which mug do you have?
This is new car focus group. There it is, right there.
Right here?
Yeah, t-shirt and a mug.
All right, we'll pull up the t-shirt. Let's make it bigger. All right, people.
That's a great
You're
t-shirt.
going to get to see, if you're listening to the podcast, you can watch this on Something TV. It'll be easy to find. Oh, I got an effect on, apparently. Sorry, Summer, your T has been reversed on the screen. It's a negative.
Still looks cool, though.
It still looks cool, and I'll fix it, and then we'll put it as it is.
We're completely derailed.
I know, that's all right.
But, yeah, so the second season is a pseudo-documentary about these two idiots running for president. And they seem aware of the fact that they don't know how elections work.
Right.
Like, at various points during the season, they remind you that these are still the primaries, despite them being the presumptive I think this is all before before the New Hampshire primary.
Yeah.
And they're being treated as the nominees of their respective parties.
Right.
Killface being the Democrat and billionaire idiot Xander Cruz being a Republican.
Right. They just immediately...
Which is not hugely surprising. Well, you know, you know what? There's some Democrats who are definitely aliens who come to kill us.
Sure. Why not?
I mean, Joe Manchin, come on.
Come on, yeah. There you go.
But it's such a wild shift between
that's a nice shot.
sort of like sci-fi adventure to weird political comedy.
That's what I was going to say. It's and I feel like Archer does this too, and you'll get into that connection. But there's action happening, and it's well thought out comedic action, but it's still very visually appealing. And meanwhile, it's also like an episode of The Office, kind of, where there's all this weird roommate
They cut to the talking head
tension.
segments. And
Yeah. And I love, if you do watch Frisky Dingo and you're like me and you like to jump in the middle, jump into when does Killface go blind? That's season 2?
That's season 1.
That's season 1.
It's like halfway through.
Where Xander hits Killface with his car. It's a lovely, like, bromance type movie. And I like that they, at one point, Killface asks the audience, did I know that? Or something about Xander Cruz.
And I think it's the final episode. Killface is confronted with the fact that Xander Cruz is Awesome X.
Right.
And he asks the audience, did I know that?
Did I know
And it is not clear whether or not he did.
Yeah.
Because it was sort of marketed as a comedy superhero show. And Xander Cruz wears the costume maybe 3 times.
Yeah.
And once is to spoil a birthday party, and one is to intimidate Fred Dreyer of TV's Hunter.
Right.
So it's, you know, you hear superhero comedy, you go, yeah, I've got enough of that. No, it's not what that is.
I forgot about the Fred Hunter.
We should. There's so many characters. I wanted to mention the Exticles, who are
Should
Xander
we cut
Cruz's.
to a clip of the show?
We
can't.
I don't know if
I
that's
wanted
possible.
to say that.
Yeah,
Because,
you're going to throw it to a clip.
hey, let's throw to a clip. Hey, Maurice, do we have that clip? No?
Oh, it turns out we don't.
We don't have it. We don't have the license, the rights, or the money to play the clip of Frisky Dingo. You rich bastards.
The Exticles are this army of men in armored suits. And they all have the same voice and basically the same personality, and they look exactly the same. They have jet boots.
They can fly with these suits, so it's pretty rad.
And mostly they hang out in their flying fortress, which, presaging Avengers, is basically a flying aircraft carrier.
Yeah.
Although that, you know, I think they got that from the comics before it was in the movies. But still, anyone with a flying aircraft carrier looks like they were 10 years ahead of their time now.
Yeah.
And they are this amazing group of idiots. And it's amazing how much, I said amazing twice, how much comedy they get from people with no distinguishing characteristics.
Yeah.
Just being dipshits.
Yeah.
Like, there is a bit where an antagonist is going to blow up one of their heads every hour.
Right.
And that doesn't stop them from going to the place to make a pot.
That's right.
Because a head blows up there. Well, we got an hour.
That's right. We got an hour.
They are this like, they change allegiances, and they're always motivated by the dumbest thing. And every time you cut back to them, it's like they no longer have a role in... They didn't really have a role in the plot from the beginning.
Right.
Briefly, they kidnapped their former leader, Xander Cruz.
Yeah, it's funny how much they don't do. Like they're around, and we get to meet them. And one of them's a serial rapist.
Ronnie, yes.
Ronnie.
He
thinks that he's not a rapist, though, I think.
No, he will refer to it as making love to your face.
Yeah, there you go.
It is...
Wow.
Maybe didn't age well in 2022, but
No.
unfortunately was also pretty funny.
There are a couple things, should we warn them? There are a couple things that didn't age well. It's not the worst.
Yeah, it's
a lot of liberal use of the R word, which, yeah.
Yeah, which, it's brief, but when it happens, it'll be like 4 times in a...
Yeah.
And there is a character who I cringed at because of, oh God, this is kind of a racist Asian character. But then it turns out that character is in 2 layers of disguise and is not at all Asian.
Right.
But when he first appears, it's going to be like, oh no, this isn't okay.
Yeah.
But also, his catchphrase of "What the hell, damn guy," is still real funny.
It is, and that reminds me, going back to slideshow.
Mm-hmm.
Did people ever say that? I
don't
assume
think
it meant what you said it meant.
I
was like, was that from the 80s?
I never heard it in any other context.
Because I thought of your generation. I was like, maybe that was a thing when EJ was kicking it.
It's weird that I knew right away what it referred to. So maybe that was a thing.
Maybe,
but
it kind of the context was there to get it. Like, oh, I assume that's their list of hot girls in their head.
Yeah,
you know.
I think the first time it comes up, someone was slideshow. She's in it,
right? Yeah,
and I might have had a T-shirt with that slogan on it.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
I shouldn't have just said hot girls. Could be hot boys.
Yeah, it was.
Whoever's
in, this case,
in your slideshow. You
know
what I'm saying?
Within the show, I think it was Darcel Jones of Team Jaguar.
Oh, that's right. Team Jaguar. Can you do the growl? They did the.
That was way better. I could not even feign it.
So you never officially heard of slideshow?
No.
Okay. I feel like they created it.
Yeah. Then, again, it's one of the things I remember, and they say it twice. Then in the second season, there's a so-and-so made headlines today, but not the good kind like you want.
Not the good kind.
Which, again, is maybe twice, and that has been in my head for 15 years.
Right.
As just a funny joke.
Oh, there were so many good ones on there. I feel like I'm just going to throw this out there. Camera 1, camera 2. Let's see. Camera 2. Nope, wrong camera. Go back to camera 1. I think we might have to have EJ and I get together again and just stay on Frisky Dingo. We could do a whole show per episode.
We really could do a Frisky Dingo recap podcast.
That we could, and I would love it, and you would love it, and we could go so deep, and we could waste a lot of time getting distracted by crazy shit that happens.
I feel like there's
Stuff
a 30%
happens.
chance we could get Mr. Ford.
Mr. Ford. What do you mean?
The character and also the voice actor.
Oh.
Which, I know we have a no segue rule here, but on Fed Talks we do like segues.
You like segues?
Here's a thing that I was surprised by watching it now is there are not name voice actors in it.
Yeah.
I assumed John Benjamin was in it at some point with it being an Adult Swim show. But other than Brendan Small, who plays 2 roles in the premiere, twin brothers who both die.
Oh, that's right.
The Amber Nash and Lucky Krieger, who are on Archer now, are voices.
Okay.
They were not known as anything other than improvisers then.
Okay.
The biggest name in the cast is Kate Miller, who plays Grace Ryan, the reporter who is Xander Cruz's girlfriend, who he openly hates. They don't even really interact except for him to be mean to her.
Oh, God.
Kate Miller was on, and we'll get into the history, C-Lab 2021, which was Adam Reed's previous show.
I love that. I did not realize that.
And she does a lot of voiceover work now still, most of it on kids' shows. She's married to John DiMaggio, the voice of Bender and a bunch of other characters, so they're like a voiceover dynasty. But the voice cast is a lot of people whose IMDb page is only Archer. Xander Cruz, Killface, Ronnie, and Wendell, who joins late in the show, is theoretically a Treasury agent, but is lying about everything.
Right.
Are all voiced by creator Adam Reed.
Oh.
And there's an elderly African-American man who's introduced as a man who owns a gun store. and by the end of the series is the president.
That's right.
Who mumbles. He's sort of a Tim and Eric kind of guy.
Yeah.
He's only known as Mr. Ford, and he's credited as Mr. Ford.
You think we can get him?
What else is he doing? If you look him up on IMDb, his credits are Frisky Dingo, the Exticles spinoff, which we'll talk about.
Right.
He appeared on Archer as Mr. Ford.
I'm excited about the Exticles spinoff because I don't think I knew that.
There's only 2 episodes.
Oh.
And he was
I'm happy and sad all at once.
He was in one live-action movie where he is credited as Mr. Ford.
Oh.
And I don't want to look into it more. I want to think he's just a weird guy Adam Reed knows who thought he'd be funny to voice a character. But he's mumbly, and he one thing he says is "my ass is everywhere" because he's in so many scenes, and he says that he's in season 3 of Archer.
And actors like to act. We were showing Big Trouble in Little China at Wealthy Theater a couple weeks ago, and unsolicited, we received headshots of he was more than an extra but less than a main character, and he very often played stereotypical martial arts roles, but he sent us a pack of headshots.
Oh wow.
Because we were showing the movie, he must have it on blast that whenever the movie's being shown anywhere. And he was very nice, and he was too far away to come in, but he would have come in and done a talk if we had asked him. We couldn't afford to fly him in, but
that's kind of amazing.
So maybe we can get Ford.
We could. There's like so many. Stan, who is Xander Cruz's sort of second in command, who's a traitor, and at one point has a bunch of flesh-eating clones of himself.
Oh yeah.
Stan is. He's played by a
guy
guy
was disturbing, kind of, wasn't it?
When they eat his ear.
Yes. Yeah.
He doesn't really have any other credits.
Okay.
All these characters who, like, I'm racking my brain going, have I heard that voice? And really, I haven't. It's such a homegrown enterprise.
I'm going to try to imitate Mr. Ford.
Okay. And since his
they'll know.
There's a fear in doing a person of another race, but what's weird about Mr. Ford's voice is not his race, it's his mumbling.
It's like this. At home, I want to get a broom. That's I think that's not great, but it's getting in there.
That's you could dub Mr. Ford if they lost the audio.
Yeah, and his mumbling, at first you're like, who's this guy? He's not of any consequence. But then it's like, oh, he's kind of a weird genius, but you just can't understand what the hell he's saying. Kind of a Boomhauer almost.
Right, and he feels like those non-actors that Tim and Eric put in stuff.
Right.
Like, it's not hard to imagine
Man
that
off
was
the
the
street.
progenitor.
Yeah, I could see that.
Like Adam Reed met him at a grocery store.
Yeah.
Adam,
if you're watching, let us know how that happened.
Yes, please. Give us Mr. Ford's backstory.
Yes.
I remembered this show as being more like Archer. Like I remembered Xander Cruz looking exactly like Sterling Archer, and he doesn't.
I remembered it I think we talked about this. I thought it was Archer when I was thinking back on it. I was like, oh, that was where Archer first appeared.
Right.
I think I even told somebody that, like I was smart. I was like, oh yeah, no, that's where Archer started in Frisky Dingo. And they're like, no way, dude. And I was like, bro.
And the art style is similar.
Yes.
But Frisky Dingo, I noticed in the credits it refers to it as being painted. Oh. The colors are there's
interesting.
like painted shading on the cells, which in Archer I think is an after effect, but it's
right.
There's and you can kind of tell on Frisky Dingo because it moves with it's station Killface's shading is stationary in regards to his body as he moves through space.
Right.
But it looks really cool. You don't see anybody doing that painted color anymore without it being like Undone on Amazon, which is defiantly hand painted.
Right.
It's really cool to look at.
Itself. Yeah.
And Archer is a show I love, and the animation is they focus on the art more than the animation.
Yeah.
The art looks very good. Sometimes they really kick it out on the animation, but they mostly I always think of it as flash animation. I think it's better than that. But
yeah.
And Frisky Dingo is maybe a couple steps down from that, but it works in the sense that when violence happens, it happens so fast. Like, there are a lot of main characters who start dying towards the end of the series.
Yes, and I was you brought up one of my points, and I don't know if it's this particular filmmaker style, but stuff happened so fast in Frisky Dingo. I had to rewind multiple times. I was like, wait, somebody just got killed. How did they get killed? And then it's like, oh, I have to watch it in still frames. But
yeah,
I think that's a thing, because Archer's fast too. But yeah, maybe that's just the way he rolls.
I think there's not really a, like, anytime a major character dies, there is no lead up to it.
Right.
There is a flash of a gunshot or a machete.
Yeah.
And that's worth mentioning is in season 2, the first 8 episodes are the presidential run in the fake documentary style. Then it comes back after a break for 4 final episodes where they dispense with that style. They are no longer... Killface is back to wanting to destroy the world. Xander Cruz is in a halo because his neck is broken after Killface hit him with a penguin.
That's right.
And those 4 episodes kill off most of the main cast.
Yeah.
Like, other than the crucial characters, it is only the least popular ones who stay alive.
Right.
Like, people did not like Wendell.
Yeah.
The audience did not care for this guy.
He's immediately hateable. He's so cringy and creepy.
And with a little bit of distance, real funny.
Yes. Yes.
Like, I understand the complaint he's taking screen time away from Sin/Hooper.
Right.
And, these Tequil and these other characters that people liked. But
the Hooper subplot is marvelous, I just want to say.
Yeah. Sin,
I won't
who is...
spoil it.
Well, she's Killface's sort of second in command.
Yeah.
She is a bald woman with a cybernetic arm and sort of a modulated voice, and there's no explanation for why any of this happened.
Yeah.
And then in between seasons, she gets an Exticle suit.
That's right.
Which is fitted to her as a woman.
Right.
Calls herself Hooper and takes over the Exticles.
Right.
And this that's part of why you can sort of jump in without having the continuity, because sometimes big things happen off screen.
Right.
And you're just told, oh, this happened now.
Yeah, yeah. And the Exticles all assume Hooper's a dude.
But they think he's hot.
And so there's a lot of exploration of confusing feelings for the Exticles, and it's delightful. And you kind of see a more innocent side of the Exticles, and then their heads start blowing up just willy-nilly.
They're just dumb. They're so beautifully dumb.
Yeah, they're amazing.
They... Gotta love the Exticles. They're all voiced by Lucky Yates, who's Krieger on Archer. And it doesn't sound like him.
That's pretty cool.
I guess that's part of voice acting, is doing a voice.
Yeah, yeah.
And there is some sort of modulation.
They're doing a modulation, so that helps. But yeah,
I'm doing a lot more hand motions now because I know there's a camera.
Right.
And they'll be lost to time, but it's me putting a hand in front of my mouth, which is probably ruining the audio. Podcast listeners, I apologize if I'm spoiling the audio by playing to the camera.
The audio again.
That I keep forgetting to look at, so... All in all, this is weird.
Weird stuff.
So, you know what? Let's get into the history of Archer. Why it ended and where Adam Reed comes from.
Right.
We mentioned it briefly. One of the first Adult Swim shows was C-Lab 2021, which was
lovely show. I loved it. I would watch that again too.
I have the DVDs, which I don't think you can get anymore, but it's on HBO Max, so who cares about my physical media?
Right. But save it just in case of the end times thing.
Or if HBO Max keeps scrubbing content to save money.
Oh no, are they doing that?
They are.
I don't like that.
We'll talk about that off mic because I've already discussed that on another episode.
Okay.
It was a show... It was all repurposed animation from a short-lived 70s show called C-Lab 2020, which is sort of one of those personality-less Hanna-Barbera shows. Like, they did the same thing with Space Ghost Coast to Coast.
Oh.
But that was at least a show about a superhero who went places.
Yeah.
C-Lab 2020 was about a laboratory under the sea.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a character who never gets out of his chair because he never got out of his chair in the original series.
I'm going to do the theme song. Here's my imitation. Da, 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 Da-da-da-da. That's not very good.
We're going to get hit with a DMCA takedown now.
That's so bad they can't sue you for that. But yeah, so it's under the sea, and they don't really go anywhere.
Yeah, and it's a bonkers show that is worth watching. And it was Adam Reed and Matt Thompson were the creators.
Yeah.
And when that ended, they went over to Frisky Dingo.
Yeah.
Now, here's a thing that has become clear and has been confirmed by them is kind of like the South Park guys. There's one who's sort of the creative one and one who's sort of the one who keeps them being adults.
Right. Makes them do their homework.
Yeah.
Right.
Adam Reed was the creative force behind the show. Matt Thompson, I mean, he's the main voices. He's I think they're both credited as writers, but they both admit it was mostly Adam doing the plotting. Matt Thompson does not do any voices.
I didn't know that. No voices.
I think Adam Reed saw the writing, because Adult Swim, and I want to say this very carefully, as a man who has a pilot script that has been in the Adult Swim offices, and who has had at least one Adult Swim creator express interest in involvement with the project.
Yes.
And
dramatic cut to camera 2. Now you're over here.
Okay. I'm saying this as I want plausible deniability. I'm saying this, I don't want to burn any bridges that weren't burned by the pandemic and people not wanting shows from unknowns anymore.
Right.
Sometimes they can be kind of assholes at Adult Swim.
Do they not want shows from new people anymore? Are they closed?
Nobody wants shows from new people anymore.
Oh, no, okay. It's industry-wide. But a bit of an a-hole-ish flavor.
Yes. And, they troll people. I think Adam Reed kind of realized he didn't have a long future there.
Yeah.
I think the budget was a problem.
Yeah.
He's a professional, so he doesn't really talk smack about Adult Swim, but he also has not gone back.
Right.
And when the last episodes were airing, Frisky Dingo ends in 2008. Archer starts in 2009. For an animated series, there had to be some overlap.
Yeah.
So I think that's why he's killing off the cast. Is his thought is he's ending the show because he's going over to do this show that has now gone 14 seasons.
So he's thinking ahead a little bit. I'm going to write, but then the cliffhanger.
Yeah, he left a door.
Right.
But so then it ends.
It wasn't such a cliffhanger, though.
Right?
Like that could be the end.
It's not like, oh my god, what happens?
He could answer it in a comic form too.
Yes,
because I would buy it.
And it's just a funny way to end a show.
Hint, hint. We would buy it, and we'd tell our friends to buy it. Of course,
you know it. So once he's gone, Adult Swim announces there's going to be a spin-off focusing on the Xticles. And that is Matt Thompson in charge.
Okay.
And Matt Thompson has admitted before and since then that he was not the creative force. Like, he's in the writer's room. He's making jokes.
Right.
He's not the mind behind the show.
Right.
So they did 2 episodes of The Xticle, which is about Xander's robot force. In order to make it work, first off, they have a leader now who's sort of a grizzled guy with an eye patch who is never referenced anywhere else. Some of them take their helmets off and have celebrity voices. Michael Ian Black was the main Xticle.
Interesting.
They have a sexy lady hologram who gives them, or she might have just been on a computer, and I imagine she's a hologram.
Yeah.
Because I need her to have a body.
She's an Xticle as well?
She's like she's Cortana from Halo.
Oh, right.
She's this holographic. She's voiced by Rachel Harris from The Daily Show.
Okay.
And they are. They in the 2 episodes they're called into service by Stan, who is now the vice president. And there's really not a way to sort of square the circle of where Frisky Dingo ended with what the Xticles are now.
Right.
Like, these new characters who are in charge never appeared before, and we act like they were always there.
Right.
And the supporting cast is all dead. They can't really use the people who were there for the cliffhanger, so all they have is Mr. Ford and Stan.
Right.
And they do 2 episodes. They're fairly funny. They're on HBO Max. They're not Frisky Dingo. They're worth watching. You'll get a laugh out of it. But it's like, that's fine. I'll watch this until Frisky Dingo comes back.
Right, right.
These aired, and Adult Swim then did one of their their bumpers between shows, which is where they really troll the audience.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they did a poll. They announced it there. They put it online. Do you want to see season 3 of Frisky Dingo or more Xticles? Knowing that there was not going to be a season 3 of Frisky Dingo.
I remember that bumper.
Yeah, and everybody wanted season 3 of Frisky Dingo because it's the better show with the characters they care about. Yeah. Again, you'll get some laughs out of Xticles.
Yeah.
But if you're like,
and I'm not saying don't do the Xticles spinoff, because if you like Frisky Dingo, you'll watch any spinoff, I think.
But then, so obviously the results are very heavily Frisky Dingo season 3, and then Adult Swim is like, well, Adam Reed's doing Archer. There isn't a season 3. I guess you don't want more Xticles, and everybody's out of a job. Most of them work on Matt Thompson is on Archer now, where he has resumed his job of being the adult who keeps it running.
Keeps it going. That's a good deal.
And then Adam Reed went over to do Archer, where I think he is credited as the writer of every episode for 11 seasons.
Oh, wow.
He's also the voice of Ray, who does not sound like Xander Cruz or Killface.
Right.
So he's actually like a really good voice actor.
Because Ray is this. Yeah, I was gonna say he's Xander Cruz, right? The voice.
Well, Ray has more of a. There's not a good way to say it. Ray has more of a gay voice.
Yep. Yeah.
But he also sounds more like Adam Reed sounds in real life. If you've ever heard him on a DVD commentary,
I haven't. That's funny.
Because Ray's got a little more of a Southern accent too.
Right.
And Adam Reed is from Georgia.
Right.
Frisky Dingo officially takes place in a place called The Town, but it's based on Atlanta.
Okay. The Town. I feel like there are references that seem to make that somewhat clear.
Yeah, well, they will. When they show maps of it, it's a map of downtown Atlanta.
Okay.
But every time they say there was chaos in the town. So Adam Reed goes on to Archer. He's the showrunner and head writer for 11 years. He stepped down after the coma seasons.
Oh.
So they have another showrunner. He stayed on to be the voice of Ray.
Okay.
So he's clearly cool with everything that's happening.
Okay.
And the last few post-Reed seasons of Archer have been surprisingly good. Like, that's a show with a consistent quality.
Right, right.
But he just went on to create a show that's run for 14 years now.
Yeah.
So it's kind of amazing. He's done 3 TV shows, 2 of which had brief Adult Swim runs, and one of them it's going to run for as long as The Simpsons.
Yeah, yeah. Wow.
And he did bring over some of his voice people. It kind of makes me think more of Adam Reed, that he stuck with people, and then he brought a lot of the Frisky Dingo people over behind the scenes when they were.
Yeah, I like that. It's like a kind of a family entourage, like a work group of people you trust. You keep doing stuff with them because, after a while, everybody kind of knows what they're good at.
Yeah.
And, you can get past,
Somebody's realized the weird ways you work. Why not?
Why not?
But, yeah, it was, there could have been more Frisky Dingo material, but Adult Swim sort of killed it. And I think I get the feeling it left such a bad taste in everybody's mouth that they would not come back for anything.
Yeah.
Again, I am just speculating what other people said.
Wild speculation here, people.
I know people have seen the pilot for A Town Called Science, and if they want to get back to me, absolutely, I will. I certainly bear no ill will against you. You didn't run a poll about me.
I want a spin-off of Xander Cruz and Killface as roommates, and they're both blind still, and they have to help each other all the time. I thought that was just the most delightful little sidebar of those two.
There are so many episodes where they're both blind and they're friends, and Killface thinks he's a guy named Barnaby Jones.
That's right. I forgot. That was one of my favorite jokes.
Weird reference for middle-aged people.
Barnaby Jones.
And Xander has a wig glued to his head and pornographic graffiti lipsticked onto his body for... Like, that phase of the show is like 6 of the 25 episodes.
Yeah.
Like... You know how everybody talks about when Ross had a monkey on Friends?
Right.
That was maybe half a season.
Yeah.
Out of 10 seasons.
That's right.
But
it seems like so much more.
Yeah, in Frisky Dingo terms, that would be 3/4 of an episode.
Well, you mentioned Barnaby Jones. There was a joke I wanted to point out. You might not know this joke because you're not that old. Where'd it go? I forget who says it. Prophets. Yes, Stan, you're soaking in them. You remember that joke?
I think Stan says it to himself, maybe.
Maybe he does. That's referencing a TV commercial from the 70s.
Oh, this is the dishwashing liquid that helped your skin.
Yeah, and
you're soaking. Madge.
Madge.
You're soaking in it.
Yes, Stan, you're soaking in them. And I thought, I don't know if EJ's old enough to get that joke, but you remember that.
I was just on the tail end of that from watching too much TV as a kid.
You started early, right?
I did.
You were
so
early
early
adopter.
I broke my leg when I was 1. There was a lot of TV early on. Boy, there's a bunch of characters we didn't even... Like, Tequil, who is... He's in, like, every episode early on as an image on the TV or on a cereal box.
Yeah.
And he's apparently the biggest rapper, and he's voiced by actual rapper Killer Mike, which is the closest they come to a celebrity voice.
Yeah.
And eventually he's just intimately involved with the plot of the show. Mm-hmm. And since we've already said most of the cast dies, his death scene makes me laugh so hard still. That was one I remembered, and when it happens, it's as funny as it was in 2008.
Yeah, I had totally forgotten about that. I think I forgot that whole character. And then when I came back, I was like, oh, yeah.
He's all over the place.
Yeah.
He gets really into NASCAR at one point.
Who's his sponsor on that? He has a weird sponsor.
Pickle Brothers is
one
of them.
Pickle Brothers.
The Pickle Company.
That's what it was? Oh, that's good stuff.
It is an absolutely just wild show that was so much fun to rewatch.
Yeah. And we should say, Killface becomes, when he's the presidential candidate, he becomes like a far-right religious
Oh, yeah, he gets
populist.
into religion.
And then at one point, he decides he's going to shame his followers. And he says, maybe your granddad saw Noah naked. And I remember thinking, I can't believe that joke. That's one of the best jokes I've ever heard. Like, to make someone feel guilty about who they are. Or was it because if your granddad saw Noah naked, it made him gay? Or something?
No, he was when his son came out as gay, he was in favor of it.
That's right. He switched sides.
Ham was one of Noah's sons who saw him get drunk and naked after the ark. Oh. And as a result, he was cursed.
Oh, I did not know that.
Wander.
Now it's an even better joke.
They cut it out of every religion because it's this weird thing in the Bible where
maybe your granddad saw Noah naked. I don't know.
When he gets into the Bible and he's just... I believe he refers to it as a whacking great book at one point.
Yeah. Something like that. Oh, God.
A thing I do think is really funny that we talked about before and I forgot to bring it up here is sometimes Killface just murders people who displease him slightly.
Yeah.
Like the directors of his commercial, he kills them both. Like, disembowels them easily.
Oh, that's right.
And at the Regis and Kathy Lee show, he skins somebody. Oh, and there are other people who irritate him for the run of the show that he just has to sit there and take it. And there's no, like, explanation why his employee who's suing him gets a pass.
Right.
But that guy can do... It's so funny because
it's almost like Killface is like, well, I can't kill him. He's suing me.
Yeah, everybody...
Somehow.
People are comfortable mouthing off to this giant alien with talons.
Yeah.
And sometimes he'll murder you, and sometimes he just has to take it and be passive-aggressive.
Yeah, especially when his son pushes his cereal bowl off the counter. That's the great thing, because he worships his son. He's not going to hurt his son, and his son just mumbles and he abuses him.
His son Simon never speaks an audible word.
Yeah.
And he looks like Killface, except he has blonde hair and wears clothes. Like a sweater vest.
A sweater vest. And he's diabolically smart, we discover. But he talks like this. And no words. There's no words.
And he has access to a rocket launcher for much of the show.
Yeah, and he doesn't really need words.
You got some more quotes here.
I noticed the Exicals used a fanny pack VHS record system, which I used to use at the public access TV station in the 90s, people. We did Pickles already. Killface asks someone who's wearing a nun habit.
Yeah, there's a plot that involves dressing like nuns.
And he says, do you want me to hold your wimple? Which wimple, if you didn't go to Catholic grade school, even if you went to Catholic grade school, you might not remember that nuns call it a wimple. And yes, Stan, you're soaking in them. Oh, and at one point, Killface, I forgot what he's blaming it for, but he says, I blame the hip-hop. Something bad has happened.
I think it was for Simon's attitude.
Oh, his son has a bad attitude.
Because he's always watching Tequila on TV.
That's right. I blame the hip-hop.
There's I think this is an example of the insane plotting of this show is Killface needs $12 billion to properly destroy the world.
Yeah.
Xander Cruz needs him to sign his likeness rights away to make him into an action figure.
Right.
So he has a fake invention expo with a $12 billion prize.
Right.
That he faxes to Killface, but first he has to send him a fax machine so he can receive it.
That's right. Oh, that's right.
And then they have this expo with only 2 entrants, and Xander loses the plot and awards the other guy the prize.
Oh, that's right.
So
that's right. Killface shows up to pitch.
And they have a dance number. But he gives it to his subordinate who put an ant farm inside a keyboard.
That's right.
And they also turn him into a lobster just for... I do not remember the pretext for turning him into a lobster, but by the end of the series, he's an entire lobster with a human face.
I think he was trying to give himself a super strength.
Oh, and they wanted to make him a villain.
Yeah, but
so
he
they
didn't think
mutated him into a lobster.
Into a lobster, but I think that he thought he would just get the claws.
Yeah,
right?
and at first he does, and then he's more lobster in every episode, and by the end he becomes just a lobster.
Yes.
Everything we see, this will be the 3rd episode of this format that comes out. One of the others was John from Cincinnati, and they are shows that sound insane when you talk about them.
Yeah.
And not much less so when you watch them, but they hold together a lot better than when we're just remembering Ant Farm keyboards.
Ant Farm keyboards. And I think that what runs through all of these and well into Archer is just a lovely use of absurdism, which is a legit old school form of comedy. And it's just so absurd. He cuts people in half, and then he worries about parenting his son. It's lovely.
And he has to talk somebody into giving him back a key rather than disemboweling them.
And after he disembowels people, he says that they need to get the place decorpsed. Yes.
There were 2 things that I noticed kind of carried over to Archer in terms of the style.
Yeah.
One is where a scene will end on a line, and then it cuts to another scene where they sound like they're replying to that last line.
Right.
Like it's a different conversation, but the same line would make sense in both.
Yeah.
That's the thing they love on Archer. They start doing it more towards the end of Frisky Dingo.
Yeah. They've turned that into, it's kind of an art form.
And
it's an art form in itself.
Both Xander Cruz and Archer. You know what? There's 2 kind of catchphrases that made their way over. One is the Xander Cruz favorite that Archer also does is, God damn it. Just really putting some sauce on it. And
I'm
the other...
go pee, but you keep talking to the audience.
Oh, great. Okay. Our guest has gone to pee. Again, 2nd episode in a row where the guest got up and walked away during recording. But one of the frequent lines that comes up on Frisky Dingo, and you hear it from Lana a lot on Archer.
Do you think the mic is picking up my peeing?
I'm sure hearing it. Loudest urethra in the business. When somebody responds to somebody being an idiot or a setback by just going, you know, you see that a lot on Frisky Dingo, and it's kind of a Lana Kane favorite on Archer, and it was fun to see the birth of that. Now I guess
wasn't going to flush, but I was trying to be authentic.
We appreciate it. So I think our stance is pretty clear. Do you recommend people watch Frisky Dingo?
Absolutely.
We're in favor. It's on HBO Max. They also did DVD releases of each season that probably are out of print given Adult Swim's history, which means maybe the ones I have are worth money.
Oh yeah, good point.
But
are they bad at like keeping up with?
Yeah, especially once the show ends, they're not.
Yeah.
But they just did a re-release of the whole Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Oh,
like everything.
okay.
Before the finale movie comes out next month. Aqua Teen Hunger Force Plantasm.
Plantasm. That sounds lovely.
So yeah, it's easy to watch. I recommend it. I know we made it sound like it's real thick in continuity, and there is sort of a loopy ass plot that goes through it, but there's so many logical leaps that you can just sort of pick up an episode, and if you laugh, you're set.
It's kind of like at the end of The Big Lebowski. You're like, well, I know there was a plot, stuff was happening, and it got sort of resolved, not completely, but it doesn't matter how you got there.
I will also say the pilot is one of the best pilots because it's all Killface dealing with the frustration of not being able to get his message out.
Yeah.
Xander Cruz does not even appear in the first episode.
Yeah.
It is Killface trying to shoot a commercial.
Right.
And dealing with subordinates. And learning about this single dad who's also a killer alien.
He's a killer alien. And he kills his marketing people there in the beginning. And I have to they must have known he was capable of that.
One would think.
And
you can
yet
tell by look, his name is Killface.
His name is Killface. He's clearly got super strength. Anyway, he's not good at messaging. Turns out he's great at being an evil alien who's going to destroy the world, but he can't do messaging.
I like that he's so hard to deal with that people can't help but mouth off to him,
yeah.
even though they know they will likely die. Like Val is...
Yeah.
She's the only one who survives the first episode.
She survives because she figures out that she has to like hide inside the wall of the house. It's the only way to survive Killface, and it works. Like she outsmarts him.
He also demands that she make out with a corpse, which blissfully they don't show us.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, definitely watch Frisky Dingo.
Yes, please.
Now here's a thought exercise. Now we have to imagine a different world where Adam Reed is maybe not making Archer. If Frisky Dingo comes out in 2022, do you think it's more successful now? Can I bounce my thought off you? Since you're thinking
you go
about
first. That's a good. It's a hard question. My gut is saying yes, it would be.
I kind of think maybe not, because it is harder to get traction now with more stuff out. You know, there were 6 shows on Adult Swim when this...
That's true. And there was nothing like... I had never seen anything like that.
Yeah.
When I first saw it.
Maybe it's more successful in a world now where it's like, hey, this is the Archer guy who made this show you love. Here's a new thing. This is This is where their positions are flopped.
Right.
But I don't... In Adult Swim... Partly through their own doing, and again, if anybody hears this who has A Town Called Science or Korg the Perceptive on their desks, I know they've made it into the building. We can talk. Yeah. This is just me speculating. I might be talking about a fictional version of a company. They are really quick to pull the trigger on stuff now. You're not seeing, unless you're grandfathered in like Squidbillies or something where they've been on forever.
Right.
You're not really getting a lot of long runs or letting stuff breathe.
Yeah.
I mean, the only recent thing I can think of that's gone beyond a couple seasons is, I mean, like 3 Busy Debras. That's in animation. They're really Bird Girl, I guess, is sticking around, but that's so cheap to make, and that's kind of a legacy character.
Right.
But you're just not seeing sort of Adult Swim. I mean, it's Rick and Morty, and then the things that are on when Rick and Morty isn't airing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like the actual style of it, I think, would click better now because people are more used to continuity in a show. I think they're more used to absurdity, but I don't think it would be easier to sell.
Yeah.
I think it would be one of those. It would be received much like it was now, where stoners who are up at all hours and people who watch everything on TV, this Venn diagram of Sean and I.
Right.
They're trying to tell people about it, and everybody's going, Adult Swim?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Which is sad. I would love to
see
it.
It is sad. Because I do remember back in the day, like, you know, the feeling you would get when you'd see something on Adult Swim where you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
What is happening here? That's part of why I liked 12 Ounce Mouse as well, because I was like, you can do this on TV? Is this allowed? But yeah, interesting.
Yeah, their new program. There's just not a lot of new programming right now. It's
And do you see that across the whole?
Oh yeah, it's
thing. Yeah, it's not just Adult
streaming
Swim.
services are cutting back. I mean, Netflix, they'd be dropping 10 shows a week out there, and it's a lot more. Let's let everything fly and see what it sticks now.
Mm-hmm.
Entire content streams have shut down. It's maybe for this weird show, there's no good home for it, but let it into your hearts.
Let it into your hearts.
Sean, do you know what's in my heart?
What's in your heart?
Those of you on the video have maybe noticed that I've several times lifted a mug up to the camera, even though I'm not drinking anything. And you've also maybe noticed my T-shirt.
There you go.
Let me present it.
Work it.
It says, "That's a Chunky." It is a scene from I Think You Should Leave. It is beautifully drawn. It is literally my favorite T-shirt. And this mug, can I tell you, did you watch I Think You Should Leave?
No, I haven't watched it yet.
Sean!
I did stumble. I've seen a few hot takes.
It is so up your alley.
Yeah.
But this is based on a sketch from that show where there's a focus group trying to come up with a car. And there is a sort of an older Tim and Eric style guy who has crazy ideas and picks a fight with somebody. This mug, the car focus group mug, which has a blueprint of a car that incorporates his suggestions.
Oh, nice.
Our friend Tease by Summer, teasebysummer.com, that's our sponsor.
Tease by Summer.
Posted this on Instagram, and the actor who played the old man saw this and reposted it and commented, "This is a very good idea."
Oh.
This is approved by the actual actor.
There's the T-shirt version.
This shirt I'm wearing right now, it is literally my favorite shirt. And there's a lot of great designs. Summer, the creator of Tease by Summer, designed the logo for this podcast, for my website, The Ape Hive, and for my upcoming scripted podcast, A Town Called Science, which most of you can't see, but I'm going to show to Sean right now.
Oh.
Look at that. You don't have your reading glasses on.
I don't.
It's fantastic.
It was lovely. I could see enough.
There we go. It's just great. Please go to teasebysummer.com. Buy something.
Go to teasebysummer.com. Or should we threaten?
I don't like to. I don't think that's her vibe.
Not Tease by Summer's vibe, but yeah. So I won't threaten.
Yeah,
I'll be nice.
Check it out.
Because we're representing her right now.
That's right. One of the shirts you can get, it has the Ape Hive logo from my website, which is a logo that is so good I can't believe it is involved with something that I made.
I just followed the shop. Oh no, they won't let me because I'm not logged in. But I'll follow it later.
It takes a while to remember your Etsy password.
There's the close-up on the mug I was looking for.
Yeah, look at that.
There we go, people. That's the mug that EJ is holding in his hand.
And you'll notice, and I apologize, podcast listeners, but you've heard me say this, the mug is printed on both sides, so it works if you're right-handed or left-handed.
How about them apples?
There's so many 5-star reviews on this website.
Thank you for being sensitive to the lefties.
Yes, thank you.
Summer.
If you don't trust me, you can trust all the good people of Etsy who have given positive reviews.
There you go.
Please check them out. It is more... You know what? You're doing more good by checking out that site than by listening to this. But you've already listened to it, so now you're stuck.
There you go.
So we are... You know what? We're gonna wrap this up. I have a couple questions for Sean, though.
Yes. Hit me.
First off, Sean, we talked a lot about TV.
Yeah.
Is there any shows right now that you would like to recommend to people?
Ooh, let's see.
To me or to the audience?
Let's see. Oh gosh, we've talked about a lot of them already in the show, so I won't repeat those. I did just watch Only Murders in the Building.
Oh, that's...
And I love Martin Short and Steve Martin, and it's not necessarily my taste, but they do it so well. And it's like, it's a comedy murder mystery. And but Martin Short and Steve Martin working together as tenants in the same building.
Isn't it shocking? Selena Gomez, who you, like me, are an old man and are not really familiar with who that person is, but she's famous.
She was a Disney kid, was she not?
I think so, yes. She works so well with these two old pros who have been friends for 50 years.
Right,
It's crazy.
Yeah.
That shouldn't work at all, and it feels like Yep, they should do stuff with Selena Gomez all the time.
And so I would definitely watch that. It's very lighthearted, and the news these days is not lighthearted. So if you want something that's an elixir, Only Murders in the Building is great. I've just started watching. I'm on season 2 of Atlanta. Have you watched that?
Oh, yeah.
I love Atlanta. I had heard it was really good. I was saving it to binge on.
Season 4 is airing now, so you picked the right time.
Yeah, and little blips of surrealism in Atlanta. I was so pleased. I was like, oh, wait, hey, what just happened? There's just like these moments of like, I don't know what to call it, surrealism.
I cannot wait until you get to the invisible car.
Just saw it. I just saw the invisible car. Yes, that was the weird. That's kind of what got me going, because that was like the second or third thing that they had done that was absolutely, I don't know what to call it, fantasy reality mix.
And so often it's so grounded in like poverty and what it's like to have to scrabble to get through the day, and then there's an invisible car. And
then the invisible car is running away from a shooting in a parking lot, and then I think they hit people. Yeah. People get struck by an invisible car. That's so Atlanta. And then Flatbush Misdemeanors I'm enjoying. I love, it's not on right now, I'm all caught up. The Bicycle Messenger guy on HBO. And he brings weed.
High Maintenance.
High Maintenance. I love High Maintenance. That's not for everybody, and you don't have to be a stoner to like High Maintenance.
Yeah,
but it doesn't
I'm
hurt.
just a drunk.
Right, there you go. You can be a drunk. Yeah, that's probably my hot takes for right now. What do you got for the people at home?
Well, I do a lot of this on regular episodes, but I tend to discuss more current stuff. So here's a couple shows I recommended to Sean, and he might have forgotten. How To with John Wilson on HBO Max.
Watched half of them.
It's kind of the show I picture you making.
That scene with the enlarging device.
Oh God.
Oh Lordy.
The guy who wants his foreskin back.
Oh, that's what it is. Foreskin.
Yeah.
I was trying to remember, was he just doing penis enlargement? It's not penis enlargement. It's foreskin recovery. How To with John Wilson. I keep forgetting his name, but it's a lovely little show of weirdness. I don't know what else we can. That was just one episode, the foreskin.
Right. It's not entirely penis oriented.
There's a slipcover episode. There's
maybe the best piece of pandemic storytelling I have seen in the season 1 finale. How to Make the Perfect Risotto. Have you seen that? I
have not seen that one yet.
Oh God, you'll cry. Also on HBO Max is a show from New Zealand called Wellington Paranormal. I believe Jermaine Clements and maybe Taika Waititi are involved with it.
I do need to watch that.
If the X-Files, Reno 911, and Flight of the Conchords were all the same show. It's a faux documentary about a small-town New Zealand police force that has its own paranormal investigation division. And it is...
I love it already.
It's really fun. I think there's actually a new season going now.
It reminds me of a little bit of People of Earth in your description.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I pitched to Sean as another show we should do because he is a UFO aficionado. So
Bigfoot, adult animation.
When I run through the 8 people I know, we will have a People of Earth episode.
Was that 2 seasons?
2 seasons. 2 seasons. That's my cutoff.
There you go.
Because if we do 3 seasons, I have to do Arrested Development, Deadwood, and The Leftovers, and I'm not emotionally ready to do that.
That's a big ask.
Also, I have to rewatch these shows, and if somebody picks a 3-season show, that's potentially 70 episodes if it's a network show.
That's a lot.
I don't have that kind of time.
I thought People of Earth was still maybe coming back. No?
TBS does not do original programming anymore. That's a show that got renewed, and then they went, oh no, we're just not doing TV.
Because it seemed like it acted like it was coming back.
They thought they were. Here's my non-TV question for you.
Yeah.
Which may actually be TV, what with you being something TV and all.
Yeah.
You got your fingers in a million different pies. What stuff do you want to plug? I'm just going to sit back and hold up my mug to the camera while you...
I don't want to overwhelm the audience, so I'm going to keep it real simple what I'm plugging this time. And I'll plug... How about this? I'll plug one of my things each time so I don't overwhelm people. Because I got too many things, you know what I'm saying?
You've got a lot of stuff going.
So we'll go big on this one. We'll say, if you want to help me accomplish my goals, I'm just going to say it like that. you can buy T-shirts from kickassyardsigns.com. Kickassyardsigns.com. And they're very political, and you may hate that or you may love it, but either way, I think you should buy a T-shirt, right? Even if you hate it.
Oh, absolutely.
It's controversial, I know, that keeping germs out of people's faces is actually good science.
We should emphasize when he says political, it is on the side of, I'm seeing pro-vaccine messages, pro-environment messages. When he says political, he's not January 6th with a false flag.
Right.
I think you need to specify.
You mean Bush didn't do 9/11? Is that what you're telling me? Oh, sorry. How about we'll just bring this one up because it's probably one of my faves, and it's not loading for whatever reason. But science matters, people. So if that's political, that's what I mean by political.
Yeah, that's something we can get behind.
We can get behind that. So, if you go to kickassyardsigns.com, get yourself a T-shirt. I got buttons, stickers, and as the name might imply,
yard signs.
Yard signs and more. I have a fantasy of us working on a late night infomercial style ad for Kick-Ass Yard Signs, where there's weird Tim and Eric characters saying things and people falling down, and EJ will be involved somehow, I hope, if he agrees.
I'm on board.
And we'll keep it short, and I won't make you wait for how many hours? 6 hours?
Something like that.
You shoot about 45 seconds every 6 hours. That's how I roll as a director.
Now, do you have any social media you want people to check out where they can... I mean, if not, no bigs.
If they're really... if they want to... Well... No, we'll just stick with Kick-Ass Yard Signs.
Kick-Ass Yard Signs.
We'll keep it simple, because then I'll get all distracted.
Yeah, no, I understand. This man's got so many projects, he can't plug them all at once.
Right,
He's the Paul F. Tompkins of... Well, I guess Paul F. Tompkins is the Paul F. Tompkins of podcasts. Yeah. He's the Paul F. Tompkins of unsuccessful podcasts.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I could plug one other thing, and then we'll let the people go. If you might think at any point in your life that social media is contaminating the world, I bought a domain. I'm going to say it. They won't let me have it, but I paid for it and I own the domain. Facebook is killing us. And so if you type into your Google machine, Facebook is killing us, and I think it's .com, it'll reroute you to one of my other sites because Facebook is so powerful that the name provider said, we can sell you that name, but we will never host that name. So you have to forward it. And then if you donate money, where it takes you, it'll take you to a secure donation portal. And if you give me money, I'll run counter speech ads on Facebook about how bad Facebook is. And then they'll shut me down as soon as they see the ads. But if you put money on there, I will put ads on Facebook saying Facebook's bad for you, stop doing it. And we should be able to sue them. So
we're looking at a David and Goliath thing where David also has to pay a lot of money.
Yes. Okay. David doesn't have a sling. He has a small Facebook ad account, and he's approved to run ads about politics. And but they don't care about me because I'm small change right now.
And after that, I feel like an asshole for telling you where to find the show on social media, which is EJ Fettis on Twitter and EJ_Fettis on Instagram. You could email the show at fedtalks@yahoo.com. This has gone on long enough, but I just remembered that Sean wanted to talk about how maybe 20 years ago I admitted that I didn't want to smoke weed because I was afraid I'd shit the bed.
Good story.
We'll talk about that next time he's on.
We'll save it. We used it in a film at one point. Did we use it in Burning Folk?
I think
We've come full circle to Burning Folk.
We absolutely have.
How about them apples, people?
We'll see if he can get some Burning Folk clips on YouTube. Again, I'll direct you to those. You can see me act. I
couldn't find it, but I didn't want to mess with it too much during your show, so we'll put the links out there.
You can see what I looked like when I didn't have a beard and I weighed 100 pounds more.
Right.
That's it. Thank you for listening. We'll be back. Next week will be a mini where I tell you what show to watch for next week and also what James Bond movie I watched.
Right.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for the interview. I could talk about Frisky Dingo all day. And now we better get this place decorpsed.
All right. Fed Talks is a Full Boys production.